It's your boy, Amreezy, and I'm back with another Road to Sorare Boss episode where we follow my wonderful journey in the wonderful world of Sorare. I am very excited today. I have a Cole Palmer Sorare card. I have been wanting this forever. I'll talk a little bit later about that more, but I just couldn't wait this week. I couldn't wait to tell you, my new cards that I bought since the last week's video. I have to tell you, I have a Cole Palmer card, okay? I've got a Cole Palmer card. I'm delighted. I'm so excited. He feels like a little missing key cog for my Sorare gallery. My favorite Chelsea player. I'm a big Chelsea fan. So getting a Cole Palmer card is pure joy right now. So that could be the end of this week's video, but I'm gonna keep going. So welcome, guys. If you're new around here, we like to talk all things Sorare. Get comfortable, make a cup of tea. While you're making the cup of tea, pause the video, give it a like and a subscribe. It helps me out massively, more than you could possibly know. It helps recommend other Sorare content to you. Helps me out. I'd much appreciate it. Unpause the video. Let's talk Sorare. So I do have a Cole Palmer card. I'll talk a little bit later about how, why, when, who. It's Cole Palmer. That's the who. But yeah, in the world of Sorare, it's getting exciting. The European leagues are coming back. I also won a card last week, a tier 5 card, not the most exciting card, but I still won a card last week, so I'm making good progress. European leagues are coming back. We're getting even more leagues coming back this week. I think the Turkish league is back this week. We already have Bundesliga 2. We already have the Austrian league, maybe. We've got quite a lot of leagues coming back, basically. And then the Premier League is coming back in the weekend after. So it's all coming back soon. My gallery is going to be fun. I can't wait. Let's start off this video not by talking about Cole Palmer. I'm going to try and resist that. Let's start off this video professionally, as we always do, looking at how I did last weekend in the glorious world of Sorare. Right then, this is how I did last weekend in what was August the 2nd to the 6th. And even though I won a card, it was quite a frustrating weekend for me, quite a painful weekend, because I really could have won a better card. It says 2 of 9 rewards won here, but one of the prizes was coins, so it doesn't really feel as much of a prize. So one real kind of prize. So the league that I kind of was the most frustrated by was All-Star League. That's the league that I won the coins, 100 coins as a reward. And I'm really annoyed because I was on course for a really good finish. These 4 cards, my goalkeeper, Castaminer, playing in the Bundesliga 2, kept a clean sheet. Castro Montes, a good score for Union SG. Brunetta, my boy, who's had a few bad games in a row, got him for a little bit cheaper because he's in bad form. 72, scored an amazing goal, a really good goal. Check it out if you've not seen it. Scored an amazing goal, man of the match. I watched that game because I was kind of wanting to see how Brunetta was looking. Looked amazing. Looked like he's getting back to his top shelf. So I'm excited about Brunetta again. I put him in this team optimistically. He delivered. Thiago Silva again. Another win for Thiago Silva. Another clean sheet for Thiago Silva. What a card he's been. He did well. So all 4 of these guys played. I was on course for, I think, like a tier 5 card with just those 4 cards playing. And then the last game was Necaxa. Monreal didn't come off the bench. Didn't even, for reasons that I have no idea. If we look at his past games, I mean, he doesn't do amazing, but I was looking at the scores and I was going, even if he gives me a 44, I'll get a good finish. If you look at this, he's played here, played here. This game, played 45 minutes. So, he's usually involved. But for the first time since here, he just wasn't involved at all. So very frustrated with Ricardo Monreal. So he never came off the bench, and I wasn't watching the game. I was keeping an eye on the score on my phone, just hoping he came off the bench. I was like, okay, if he comes on at halftime, that's fine. He might get an assist, he might get a goal. And the Necaxa were playing really well as well. 3-1, they won. So I thought if he comes off the bench, maybe, they're winning. The other team are going to be attacking. They're going to leave gaps at the back. He's on the left wing. He might get a goal or an assist maybe. Or even if he just plays, that's still points which could move me up. I was like 30 points off a tier 3 card. So, very frustrating. He didn't play. In the end, this team let me down. But if we look at the sort of positives, I've got these four cards, which are good. I'm going to be a lot more cautious with Monreal going forward now. This has been a harsh lesson for me with his kind of Necaxa status as a player there. It seems like he's not guaranteed as many minutes, maybe. Like, it's the first time he hasn't played in a while for them. So, let's see. I'll do some investigating on him. He was one of my weaker cards from Necaxa, and I did put him in this team because the other cards were in other lineups. So a very disappointing result there, but can't complain too much. Still, still these four cards are good cards to have. It's still, good, optimistic for the future. But yeah, Monreal was a little bit of a shame. In the capped leagues where I won my card, it was in the 220 league that I won my card. It was a tier 5 card. It wasn't the best scores. I mean, Acevedo, Santos somehow kept a clean sheet. Santos were playing Atalanta in the League's Cup away. I didn't expect much, but he kept a clean sheet. Last season, Santos did show glimpses of them being able to be a really solid team defensively. Where they struggle more is going forward. And when they try to attack, they almost concede goals. But in this game, I think they played just for a 0-0 and it worked. So that does make me a little bit more optimistic about Santos's remaining games in the League's Cup. Like maybe they can keep playing like this and just keep low scores. So Acevedo, great score from him. Montez, Necaxa defender, back in the first team. 62 points from him. I'm happy he's back. He was last season a really good scoring defender for me from Necaxa. So hope he can continue his good form. Villalpando, Juarez are having a great season. In terms of Sorare anyway. Villalpando and Torres, I'm kind of playing them both in the same lineups because they're both at Juarez. Villalpando is the main scorer. He gets better scores than Torres. He kind of plays as the number 10. And Torres kind of plays on the wing. So everything kind of goes to Villalpando at Juarez. So he's a great card to have. And then Torres, he's still young. He's been better this season, but he's still not on Villapando's level. But 54 from him, 92 from Villalpando, and then Emilio Martinez. I tried to double up on the Necaxa defense. I don't think I'll do that again because Martinez is not as high scoring as Montez. Martinez also doesn't play as many games as Montez. When Montez is kind of fit and guaranteed to stay at the club, he's the guy who should be playing every game. So that was the lesson here. Martinez, not so much in the future, but Montez is looking like a better card going forward. And I won a card. It wasn't the most exciting card. I'll show you later who I won. I then had a 220 team, which I ended up voiding because I wanted to trade Jesus Garza. I didn't end up trading him in the end. I tried to, but when I saw he didn't play and the goalkeeper didn't play, I was like, I'm not going to hit the threshold anyway. So I might as well try trading him out. I'm still trying to trade him out. He's not nailed on in the Tigres team. So, yeah, I'm undecided about him. I'm trying to trade him, but he does play now and again, and he got on 100 2 games ago. So we'll see with him. But for now, if I see a good trade option for him, I'll trade him. And then the 270 is usually where I put my best team for now during this kind of off-season period before the European leagues come back. So Cade Cowell, the Chivas winger / striker, did well again, 64 from him. Brian, not so great, 42 from him. Paradella is an amazing player for Necaxa. Really great card that I have there. 73 from him. I mean, let's look at his scores. Paradella. L15 of 70 at the moment. Just a great scoring card. Just a really good scoring card in Liga MX. So when Necaxa have a good game, I've got him, I've got Brian, I've got Montes in defense, I've got Unsign, the goalkeeper. So really, Necaxa have kind of become my Sorare team. Santos are kind of my team outside of Sorare, but they're not really useful on Sorare. So Necaxa have I've adopted them as my Mexican team now on Sorare. So happy with my 3 Necaxa cards going forward. These two didn't do too great this week though, so that kind of stopped me getting a reward this week. And then my favorite defender, Gonzalo Piovi, my favorite player in Liga MX in general. A pretty low score from him, 45. Haven't seen a score that low from him since the Liga MX season resumed. So that kind of harmed my chances of doing well in this team. So that's how the 270 did. And then the rest of the lineups I put out were just training lineups or lineups for building XP. So that's how I did last weekend. The card that I won. Let's now talk about the cards that I've picked up since last week. One of them is a guy called, you may have heard of him, he's called Cole Palmer. He's my favorite, maybe my favorite player in the world. As a Chelsea fan, I've just completely fallen in love with Cole Palmer last season. The problem was his card price was too high for me. I've been playing on a kind of not a super restricted budget, but I've been putting in a little bit of money in Sorare whenever I kind of had the money that I thought I could put aside and that I didn't mind spending in Sorare. And so, before the season started, I gave myself a little budget in the summer to spend before the Premier League season started. And I kind of spent that, and I never could afford Cole Palmer because I had more important priorities. But my birthday is coming up next week. My birthday is coming up in a few days, and my wife went to me, any ideas for any presents that you might like? And like without even missing a beat, I was like, yeah, there's a certain Sorare card I might like as a present. Maybe one of my presents could be a Sorare card, a certain Cole Palmer. So Cole Palmer is a birthday gift from my wife. I'm very grateful. So I now have Cole Palmer, which I'm so excited about. He really does. I have that Chelsea collection. I always was worried that if I didn't have Palmer, I'd be going into next season with that Chelsea collection and kind of hoping Palmer didn't do well. And I did kind of dread, as a Chelsea fan, I would have to watch Chelsea games and be like cheering on Enzo Fernandez, cheering on Nkunku, cheering on Cucurella, cheering on the cards I have, and kind of secretly hoping maybe it's okay if Palmer doesn't do anything this game, because that means all the Chelsea stacks with Palmer will suffer, and that will be my advantage. Now I'm in the amazing position of being able to really cheer on Cole Palmer even more than usual, have him as my favorite player, have him in Sorare, really completes that team. Now my Chelsea stack is looking like, I don't have the goalkeeper still because we don't know who the Chelsea goalkeeper is going to be, but I'll put another Premier League goalkeeper, and then it's Reece James or Cucurella in defense, Enzo Fernandez in midfield, Nkunku up front, and Cole Palmer as that kind of fifth extra player. So I'm excited. I'm delighted. So Cole Palmer is in the squad. Can't wait to play him this year. The card that I won was Lennart Stoll, a tier 5 card. And as soon as I won him, I was like, okay, let me just see what he scores. Let me look him up on Sorare data. Let me look his scores. That is his history. He hasn't even been on the platform. He has no data in Sorare. He's 28 years old. He's not in the first team. 1 DMP is all we have to kind of judge him on. So I'm going to be looking to trade him, possibly with a bot, because I don't see any human actively wanting this card. But who knows? Maybe I'll give it another week. Maybe he plays next week. I don't know. I'm not that invested in this card. I'll try and ship him out if I can. If anyone's interested in Lennart Stoll, come with the offers. The other three cards that I picked up since last week are Aldo Lopez. I traded him 47p, nice and cheap, for my Santos collection. One of the few cards remaining from the Santos collection that I don't have. I think there's only 3 cards left that I don't have to complete that collection. And I'm not in a rush to complete the Santos collection because I'm now in a position where I'm at the 4% collection bonus. And I'm never going to get to 5% because none of the cards are brand new. I didn't buy any of them from the auctions. No, I bought a few of them off the auctions, but I did the maths and I'm never going to be able to get to the 5% unless I trade my cards to get like jersey numbers. But to be honest, I'm happy with 4% and leaving it at that. So I'll only buy the other remaining Santos cards if they're really cheap. And just for the feeling of having a complete collection. But in terms of actual gameplay, it's not going to help me that much to buy the remaining Santos cards now that I've got 4% bonus. That's kind of as far as I can kind of get with that collection. The other 2 cards I bought are Ibrahim Sissoko, because I needed a forward card in that region because I don't really have that many cards in the kind of champion region. I've got Premier League cards, which I've been thinking I could always use a Premier League forward in champion, but I don't actually have a champion striker who I can rely on that doesn't play in the Premier League. I've got João Felix, who is technically a forward card in the champion region, but his future's undecided. He might be at Atletico Madrid again next year on the bench. He didn't feel like a guaranteed card, so I bought this guy just because looking at his data, it's like he does well. He seems to play a lot of games. He gets good scores now and again. So I figured I got him quite cheap, and I thought I need a guy who I just know will play, gets good scores now and again, and can kind of just be a backup. So I bought him as a kind of security blanket because I don't have any non-Premier League champion cards except for João Felix, who there's a lot of rumors João Felix could go to Aston Villa, which will make him again a Premier League forward card. So I bought him in, and then the last one I bought in was Madueke, again to help with my Chelsea collection. And also, I've been watching a few Chelsea preseason games this year, and Madueke is looking lively. The end of last season, he looked lively as well. And I have read that Enzo Maresca, new Chelsea manager, really likes attacking wingers. So Madueke could have a big season for Chelsea. With that in mind, his value is quite low at the moment because if you look at his scores, they haven't been great lately. He wasn't in the first team last season at Chelsea. So we don't fully know how Chelsea are going to play next year. But there's talk that Madueke could play on the right wing where Cole Palmer was last year. And Cole Palmer could play as like the number 10, which would be great for me because then I've got Madueke. Could be a great option. So these are the 5 new cards I bought since last week. I'm very excited. Very excited, as you can tell. Mainly about this boy. But let's now take a look at my lineups for the coming weekend. Right then, here we go. These are my lineups for the coming weekend, which is, checks notes, August the 9th to the 13th. And Sorare have announced a jersey specialist competition for this week, where the rules are... I can't see the rules. I'll tell you the rules because I know, because I spent a long time thinking about this lineup. You have to have 2 players that have an L15 below 45 or below. You have to have only 1 player with a L15 of 65 and above, and then everyone else has to be in between. And you also can't have more than 2 cards from the same team. So I really like this idea. It's creative. I like trying to work out with my gallery who fits it best. So the card that I've gone for as above 65 is the card I think I usually rely on to get my best scores. Gonzalo Piovi, the defender at Cruz Azul, even though he didn't have a good score last week, they're playing Orlando now. I'm hoping that that was a one-off last week. So he's got the guy that I'm going to back as my kind of biggest scoring card. So I'm going to back him as my kind of guy. My cards that have low scores, 45 or below, are Aguirre, the Atlas striker, who's had 2 bad games in a row now, which has brought his L15 down. And they've got a tricky game against America away. But the reason why I'm trusting him and Jeremy Marquez, both from Atlas, the reason why I'm trusting him is just because America have had so many games lately. They're playing in this like Leagues Cup. They were playing in Liga MX. They've also been playing preseason friendlies against Premier League clubs. They were playing Aston Villa, I think. They played Chelsea. Chelsea beat them. They were playing Chelsea. So they've been playing so many games. I just think they might be a little bit tired. And Atlas are in good form. They're doing well in the league this year. Although Aguirre has not had the best results in the last 2 games, he was high-flying before that. So I'm hoping, hopefully against a tired America team, Aguirre and Marquez is having a really good season. Marquez is playing much better than he was last year. Jeremy Marquez at Atlas, look at his scores lately. 71, 67, 60, 91. This is all this season since his 74. He's had a good season. Last season, look, his scores weren't that great. I had him last season because he was a young under-23 Mexican midfielder, and I do like Atlas. They're kind of, you know, they have a lot of former Santos players, so I kind of like them. And he wasn't putting the best scores towards the end of last season, but he always had it in his locker. He always had a big score now and again, which is why I bought his card. But as you can see here, there were a lot of low scores. I bought him when I was playing the capped leagues more seriously, but now I was going to sell him. Before the season, I was going to sell him. But the way he started the season, the way Atlas have started the season, and the way he plays, I've seen a few Atlas games. They play with 2 holding midfielders. Aldo Roca is the captain. He's kind of the more defensive one. And Jeremy Marquez is kind of the guy who bombs forward the box-to-box. So he's been putting up some good scores lately. This is 4 great scores in a row. And his L15 isn't quite that high because of these poor results. His L15 is quite low. So I think that's a good reason to put him in this team, along with Aguirre. Hopefully they can beat America. Hopefully they both do well. And the Santos goalkeeper, again, his L15 is low because Santos have been on a bad run for a while. But they kept a clean sheet in their last game. They're now playing Cincinnati away. They got a clean sheet away against Atalanta. Maybe they can get another clean sheet against Cincinnati. If they play how they did against Atalanta, I hope he can keep a clean sheet and do well. And also his L15 is nice and low, so he fits this team nicely. And then Hakem Ziyech is kind of in the middle of the L15 rate. He's not above 65. He's above 45. The Turkish league is playing their first game of the season. This weekend, Turkish league resumes. Not all the teams, annoyingly. Annoyingly, my Turkish goalkeeper doesn't have a fixture. And annoyingly, Necaxa don't have a fixture this week. And annoyingly, I think that's it. So I've only got 2 playing goalkeepers this weekend. So I'm not expecting that many results this weekend. I'm not expecting many rewards. It's just really annoying that loads of the European leagues are coming back, but the way the fixtures have lined up, for some reason, they're not all back. My Turkish goalkeeper is not playing. Bilal Bayezid is not playing this weekend, and Necaxa aren't playing. So that's 2 of my goalkeepers aren't playing, and obviously the Premier League's not back, so all my Premier League goalkeepers aren't playing. So I've only got 2 playing goalkeepers, so I'm only targeting 2 lineups seriously. This is one of them, and the reason why I'm picking Ziyech is Galatasaray won the league last year, first game of the season. They're playing a team that finished, I think, close to the relegation places, so they're not a team that I don't think are that great. Galatasaray at home, won the league. Ziyech, a kind of key player for them. He was on loan at Galatasaray last year. They've got him permanently now, so I'm hoping he feels more comfortable. Has a big season for Galatasaray, and if he does, that's a great card for me, because I got him because he helps with my Chelsea collection, but also he's a key player for Galatasaray. So if they have a good season again, and he's really settled in at the club now, he could be a good scoring card for him. So I'm playing him. It's the first game of the season. It's a bit of a gamble. You never know if he's going to be fully fit, how they're going to play, but they do have a good fixture. So that is going to be my lineup for the jersey specialist. The prizes are, I think, for the top couple of people, they get a signed jersey. And then the rest of the people, it's kind of like the rest of the competitions where you win a card if you get top like 1,000. So let's see how that does. The other league that I'm taking seriously is the Cap 270. That is where I'm playing my other playing goalkeeper, who is Florian Kastemeyer, who plays at Dusseldorf. Kept a clean sheet last week. Now he's got a home game, so I'm hoping he continues his good run. Hoping they continue their good run. He has a great season. I'm excited about him, you know. He got a great score last week. Hopefully he can do well again this week. Could be a really good contender goalkeeper for me this season. Then I'm putting Thiago Silva, who's got an away fixture, but that has not stopped Big Thiago recently. He's been keeping clean sheets at home. He's been keeping clean sheets away. So I'm hoping he keeps another clean sheet. He's going to be in this team. Villapando and Torres, as I was saying earlier, these are the Juarez combination that I have. They've got a home fixture against Colorado, so hoping they have a good game. If they do, these 2 players should get good scores, especially Villapando. And Torres, you know, I didn't really have many other options up front. I just didn't have that many strikers who I could have picked. I am trying to find where I can show you the other options that I have. In fact, you won't even be able to see the options because I put those strikers in other lineups. So Torres I'm putting in because I think Villapando is a good option, and I like doubling down on Juarez because if they have a good game, these 2 players could get good scores. And then I'm going to captain, Turkish League is back. Koita is a player that I picked up because I didn't have many forwards in the Challenger Redivision. So I picked him up. I kind of like that I've got a few players from Turkish League. I don't know why. I just like I've got a goalkeeper from Turkey. I've got Ziyech from Turkey. And so I wanted a forward from Turkey as well, who scores well. He gets good scores. I got him for a good price. He gets, you know, he doesn't seem to get massive scores in the greens of like above 75, but he's fairly regular with the 66s, 70s, 66. So, you know, he'll do as a kind of cheap, okay striker in the Challengers region. So if he can put a 66 up, that's an okay score if everyone else delivers. So I'm playing him, and I'm going to captain him. First game of the season, home fixture. Let's hope he can start this season really well. So that is the 270. That's my other serious lineup. In terms of not so serious lineups with DMP goalkeepers, I'm going to put a 240 out there. Santiago Jimenez still hasn't left Feyenoord. I don't think he'll play in the first game of the season, but maybe he will. Maybe he'll come off the bench. Maybe he's got a point to prove. Maybe he'll stay at Feyenoord this year. If he stays there, then that's a really good forward card in the Challenger region. Then I won't need to worry about playing Koita. I can play Jimenez, who is a high scoring card in the Challenger region. Don't know why I did that. Let's go back. Yeah, so he could be a good score. I'm going to captain him just because this is a really punty lineup. No idea how it's going to do. I've got Santos defender, Amioni. Maybe they can keep another clean sheet. Alan Minder hasn't been playing for Cercle Bruges. I was saying last week that I put him in a lineup because it was their first game of the season. And he was a good player for them last season. A young, under 23, attacking player for them, was playing every game last season. Didn't start the season, but I read more into it last week, and it was the reason why he's not been playing is just because he was playing in Copa America. So they're giving him a little bit more of a rest. So maybe he comes off the bench this game again. It's a punty lineup. And then Fulgencio, I'm playing because for the same reason I played my other two Atlas players. He's at Atlas. They're playing America. If my theory is correct and America are going to be tired, maybe rest a few players. Atlas could be up for this one. Then Fulgencio is the kind of third Atlas player that I have, who I'm less confident about, which is why he's in this lineup. And then the 220 lineup is, although I'm not expecting much because there's a DMP goalkeeper and all four of these guys have hard fixtures, I do want to talk about these cards because they're cards that I'm excited about. Sordo is a Santos forward who hasn't been in the team for a while, but he's played the last two games, started the last two games, and his last two scores have been in the 50s, which for a Santos player is very good, especially a Santos forward. 50-50, which doesn't sound great, but trust me, for Santos, that's amazing. So I'm hoping that this is the beginning of possibly some form. Possibly he's now finally in the team. He signed for Santos last season and he's never really got in the team properly. This is the first time I've seen him play regularly with good form. And Santos don't have a lot of good forward players. So if he can just put a few more performances back to back, you know, this is the Santos fan in me speaking, but I'm getting a bit excited about him. Castro Montes is a great card for Union SG. The reason why I put him in this lineup is they're playing Westerlo away. Westerlo are top of the league at the moment, even though they've only played 2 games. Westerlo are a good team, so I don't expect a great score from him, but he's going to have another good season. Union SG are a great scoring team. He should do well whenever they have a good fixture. Josh Cullen, I talked about him all the time last season in the Premier League. He's a Burnley midfielder who I love watching. He's really creative. He's a little bit like Enzo Fernandez at Chelsea. He makes so many passes. He's always involved in play, gets assists. So Burnley in the Championship, I'm excited about. He could have a really good season. If he was getting good scores in the Premier League, I hope in the Championship he can continue getting good scores. I was worried they were going to sell him because I think he's a really good player, but they've held on to him. So if Burnley can have a good season, which they should do, then I think Josh Cullen's going to be a great card for me in the Challenger region. And the reason, again, why I've not put him in one of my stronger lineups is because he's playing Luton away. And Luton also are one of the relegated teams. So I just think maybe that's a tricky fixture. So I'm putting him in this lineup. So I'm not excited about him this weekend for the first Championship game of the season. But I am excited about him for the rest of the season. And then Jan Nicholas Bester, if you watched my videos for a while, you will have known that for a while, he was my best card, my Bester card. He smashed it last year in the Bundesliga, absolutely smashed it. Playing for Heidenheim, I think he maybe got the most assists in the league. I haven't looked at that stat, but he got so many assists last season. He was the assist machine. He had so many good scores. And he's moved to Benfica. So these were his scores last year playing at Heidenheim. Great scores, 94s, 97, 80, 78. He had it in his... Look at this. Look at this period here at Heidenheim last season. 100, 100. He was an amazing player for me. I'm trying to work out how I bought him. He was the first big card I bought when I signed up to Sorare. When I signed up to Sorare, there was an offer where if you buy 5 cards, you get a discount, a 50% discount on up to £20. So I used that discount on him. He was selling for about £20. I used my discount so I could buy him for half price. And I did that by looking at his data, studying him. I saw he was an undervalued card. I bought him and he really hasn't let me down. Now he's moved to Benfica. By the way, that Sorare offer I had, there's now a different Sorare offer where you get £50 of credits after your first 5 cards bought. If you're new to Sorare, use the link below. That will give you £50 credit, which is a better offer than I had when I signed up. But yeah, he's now moved to Benfica, which in one way I'm a little bit annoyed because he was a really good champion midfielder for me, and I don't have many champion midfielders. But on the other hand, I think he's going to do even better at Benfica because he's playing for a better team in a league where there's less. Benfica are kind of like, he was playing for Heidenheim, where they were one of the worst teams in the league, and he was doing really well. Now he's at a better team, playing against worse teams, and I don't think that will make his scores any worse because what he's good at is getting down the wing, crossing the ball, and getting assists. He also is a corner specialist. So if he continues to be on corners for Benfica, he's going to get maybe more, bigger scores. Maybe worse. You never know when a player moves, how it's going to affect his scores, but I think it could do really well for him. So I'm really excited to see how he does at Benfica. And yeah, excited about him for this season. Jan-Niklas Beste is a player that I'm going to be keeping a close eye on. I don't have many players in the Challenger region. It's probably my weakest competition. So the fact that he's gone there gives me a really strong card in there. I can play him with Hakem Ziyech. That's two strong midfielders in the Challenger region now. Maybe a forward. I've got a few forwards that could go with that. A goalkeeper from Turkey. A few defenders like Thiago Silva could be the defender. So maybe I could have 5 good cards in the Challenger region, but he could be my captain most weeks. So that's how I did at the weekend. That's how my lineups are looking, people. It's been an exciting week for me getting Cole Palmer. I'm looking forward to next season. Even though this week's not going to be that exciting for me because I've only got 2 serious lineups, the week after, when the Premier League's back, that's when it's going to get really juicy. So stay tuned to the channel, folks. Good luck with your coming game weeks, and thanks for all the support. I'll see you next week. Peace.